We all love watching horror films, and the scary season is almost upon us. If you're looking for something truly scary this Halloween, you can watch one of the horror movies from this list. So let's jump into Top 5 Scary Demons in Horror Movies Part 4. Coming in at number 5, we have Annabelle the Doll. Annabelle the Doll, more specifically the Annabelle demon, is the secondary antagonist of the Conjuring universe. It is a more powerful demonic entity that, despite being able to exist independently, frequently latches onto a porcelain doll to torment those who own it. It is one of the artifacts taken by paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren during one of their cases. Annabelle is considered to be their most dangerous and haunted item and has a habit of moving around unseen. The film opens in 1943 with toy maker Samuel Mullins creating his very first porcelain doll. He would give this to his daughter Annabelle, nicknamed Bee. One day on the way back from church, when they pull over their car to fix a tire, Bee runs onto the road and dies when she is hit by a passing car. Out of grief, the Mullins couple prayed to anything that could bring their daughter back. As a result, they unknowingly summoned a demon who masqueraded as Bee's spirit. The demon then requests permission to transfer its essence into one of Samuel's porcelain dolls in order to use it as a temporary vessel. Initially, the Mullins were overjoyed at the sight of their daughter, but they eventually realized that they had been deceived by a malevolent spirit that was searching for a human host. Soon after, Annabelle attacks the mother, gouging her left eye out. The Mullins couple then takes Annabelle and seals her inside Bee's closet, covering the walls in Bible passages, before reaching out to the church to bless the household. Annabelle would remain dormant until 12 years later in 1955, when the Mullins couple opens their home to provide shelter for Sister Charlotte and the orphans. When night falls, Janice, one of the orphans, is awakened by a noise. She decides to investigate where the noise came from. She discovers a note saying, "Find me." Janice sneaks into Bee's room, which has somehow been unlocked despite Samuel's warning to not enter. Janice finds a key within the dollhouse and unlocks Bee's closet, unintentionally freeing Annabelle. In between films, the Warrens were called in to investigate a case involving the Annabelle doll. The subjects were two girls and a young man who had bought her. They explained that Annabelle had tricked them into thinking the doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl and that they allowed Annabelle to move in. The doll had begun terrorizing them. The Warrens explained that Annabelle was truly possessed by a demonic entity and revealed that it had intended to possess one of its owners. Ed and Lorraine take custody of the doll, but on their way home the doll begins to affect the car, causing it to break down. As the Warrens were attempting to fix the problem, Lorraine notes that the doll is attracting spirits from a nearby graveyard and even tries to kill Ed by taking control of a passing truck and swerving it to hit them. The two escape and bring the doll back to their house to bless it and seal it away, but the normal blessing does not contain the evil in the doll. Ed fashions a case out of the glass from a decommissioned church and the evil is contained. Coming in at number 4, we have Bagul. Bagul is the main antagonist of the 2012 horror film Sinister and its 2015 sequel Sinister 2. He is an ancient demon who consumes the souls of human children. He possesses a realm of his own and can travel into the mortal world via images of himself. Bagul was the brother of Moloch, a demon who relished in child sacrifice. He dwelt in the netherworld, which could be accessed through images according to early Christians. One day Bagul copied Moloch's child sacrifice customs and took children in the night to consume their souls. Infuriated by the religious plagiarism, Moloch sewed Bagul's mouth shut. Ever since, Bagul became a fearsome entity that would influence children to kill their families in many grotesque ways before transporting them to their netherworld. There he would slowly consume their souls. However, he would punish any child that fails to kill their family by quickly disintegrating them, as seen in Sinister 2. Bagul is a tall, nightmarish humanoid creature with pale skin and long black hair. His most distinctive features are his lack of eyes and mouth. Due to the lack of mouth, Bagul's voice is never heard, thus preventing greater insight into his personality. However, his centuries of family murders and child abductions all point to him being a sadistic and bloodthirsty demon who would force children to kill their families in particularly gruesome fashions for fun. Bagul is only appeased and properly worshipped once he kidnaps his child accomplices into his netherworld and slowly consumes their souls. He is also shown to adapt to the times, as shown by how he influences his child accomplices to make snuff films of their murders. Through these snuff films, Bagul often momentarily appears in scenes to taunt the viewer. He, along with the decaying ghosts of his child accomplices, would then haunt the viewer and their family. This would cause the viewer and their family to move to another home, which allows Bagul to start a new family massacre. We do not know the weakness of Bagul or how to stop him, making him that much more terrifying. In at number 3, we have Succubus. A girl can become a succubus if she is not a virgin and is sacrificed in a satanic ritual or bitten. This is exactly what happened in Jennifer's body. A succubus is a demonic female sexual predator who seduces human males to feed on their flesh and souls in order to survive and nourish their strength. A succubus needs to consume human flesh to maintain and restore her health, beauty, and powers to their peak. They only need to feed once in every month and seem incapable of eating any normal food, vomiting it in form of black fluid. It is unknown what a succubus looks like in its true form, but it is known that they have ghoulish yellow eyes and a large extended snake-like mouth with rows of razor-sharp fangs that are similar to a shark. While in a normal possessive state, they all tend to be physically attractive and seductive, making their hosts more beautiful and desirable than they were before as a human. As long as they are nourished, they will always be healthy with flawless skin and hair and perfectly defined body. If they fail to feed, their beauty will wane a little, with a loss of pigment in the skin and hair becoming dull and falling out. They will also develop cold or flu-like symptoms. When actually feeding, the succubus seems to follow a ritual of its own, the requirements of which being sexually seductive elements followed by violence and then actual feeding. Before feeding on Colin Gray, Jennifer told him, I quote, "I need you scared, I need you hopeless," implying that the victim's mental state must also play a role in the act. They possess a variety of supernatural powers that grow stronger each time they consume a victim. A succubus does have some weaknesses, making them easier to kill. If they become malnourished, they become weak and lose some of their special abilities. Once weak, you then need to remove the heart to fully stop them from being able to heal and attack. In at number 2 we have the Creeper. The Creeper is the main antagonist of the Jeepers Creepers horror film franchise. He is an ancient demonic creature who feeds on human beings for 23 days every 23rd spring. He eats body parts of his victims and seems nearly invincible, often wearing a tattered black trench coat, also donning a hat after he killed its previous owner. He tries to remain disguised to appear almost human. It seems to be incapable of speech, but in the first film it was heard whistling the tune of Jeepers Creepers. Prior to the events of the series, the Creeper was an immortal being who lived throughout the countless centuries in human history. Among other atrocities, the Creeper accidentally destroyed a civilization, killing all of its inhabitants, but expresses no sympathy towards his mistake. In all 3 films, the Creeper is shown to be rather a twisted individual. He seems to enjoy toying with his victims before killing them. By doing this, he is not only able to amuse himself, but also works well in igniting more fear in his victims. However, once his time on Earth nears its end, the Creeper can be extremely aggressive and ruthless, so he will continue to pursue his victims even severely injured. Despite being mostly Annabelle-like and seemingly incapable of speech, the Creeper does display human emotions and intelligence. He is also shown to understand emotions such as amusement, anger, pain, and fear, and at one brief moment it is hinted that he may understand compassion. When Trish begs him to take her instead of Derry, the Creeper does actually listen to her and seems to give her offer some thought rather than just immediately fly away. Nonetheless, the Creeper is merciless and unsympathetic for his victims, and even goes so far as to turn their bodies into art pieces, which he then hangs on his wall like a hunting trophy. And finally, coming in at number 1 we have It. It is an ancient demon who can shapeshift and feed on fear. Its origins mostly unknown, but believed to be a glamour from an old tribe of glamours who feast on fear. He is the only remaining member of the tribe. Although it lived on planet Earth for many years, it originated in a void/dimension outside the regions of space known as the Macroverse. Since its true identity is unclear due to its shapeshifting abilities and being from another universe, it is referred to as It. The form of a female spider seems to be its true physical form on Earth. It now lives deep below the fictional town of Derry, Maine. However, its favourite and most common form is that of a circus performer named Pennywise the Dancing Clown. As most small children love a clown, and generally it seems that the people in Derry happily accepted the presence of a stray circus performer, although several times in the novel it calls itself by the name Robert Gray. This may be an allusion to real-life child cannibal Albert Fish, who reportedly used the name Robert Gray as an alias. Its primary goal is to feed on humans, generally preferring children over adults since they were easier to scare and manipulate. According to the creature, frightened flesh tastes better and uses fear to salt the meat. It arrived on Earth in a massive cataclysmic event similar to an asteroid impact, landing in a location in North America that would eventually become Derry, Maine. Once people settled over this location, it adopted its usual pattern of a 27 to 30 year hibernation, waking to kill and eat. Each awakening and return to hibernation is sometimes marked by a violent and tragic act. It appears in the years between the string of children disappearing, no one seems to look into deeply to find the reason. It is outwardly explained that a series of murders, no matter how gruesome, don't get reported if they happen in the small town. However, the real reason is that the influence of it prevents anyone from investigating too deeply. The fact that it can transform into anybody's greatest fear, then feast on its fear, makes him a terrifying demon and proves themselves again and again to be almost impossible to stop. The film indicates you have to overcome all of your fears to be able to stop him, which is easier said than done. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? What demon scares you the most? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do about 5. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you later. I always forget how to say this name. Bagul? Bagul. 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 He dwelt in the netherworld. He dwelt in the netherworld, which could be a He dwelt in the nether. F off. Don't like my hair today, to be honest. Hold on. Off, I'm gonna cut you. My hair, not you. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. F off. Oh. Anyone from investigating duped. F you.